Hola, in this video I'm going to talk about indirect object pronouns and also indirect objects and pronombres de objeto indirecto is how we say it in Spanish. Pronombres de objeto indirecto. So let's see. Just a quick review on direct object pronouns. We're going to see the indirect ones, but what were those direct object pronouns? Remember that in a sentence, we usually have a person who's doing an action, is the subject, Pedro, and then we have an action, the verb. Pedro lee. What is he reading? Whatever that he is reading is going to be the direct object because the direct object is an object that where it receives the action, the direct action of the verb. So I'm reading what? A book. Juan is eating what? An apple. They, Maria y Pepe, compran, what are they buying? Flowers. So whatever that receives the direct action of the verb is the direct object. Now we have some pronouns that will replace these direct objects. These are the direct object pronouns. Me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, las. So remember that we take the direct object and we can replace it for a pronoun. Pedro lo lee. Pedro reads. What is he reading? The book. The book will be replaced with lo. So he reads it, the book. Lo, because this is masculine and singular. The indirect object pronouns are going to be similar, but a little bit different. You'll see. And remember that the pronoun will go in front of the verb when we have only one verb. If you have two verbs, it can also be attached to the second one, to the infinitive. Now, remember that direct objects can be things. He eats an apple, and they buy flowers, tacos, but it can also be a person. She visits her grandma. Her grandma, even though it's a person and not a thing, it can be also a direct object because it receives the action, the direct action of the verb. She visits who? Her grandma. So she visits her. Yeah, just remember when it's things, it can only be replaced by lo, la, los, or las. But when it's people, it can be everybody. I'm visiting my grandma, her, so it will be la. You're visiting me, me. I am visiting you guys, os, or los. It could be different ones. But so, yeah, this will be a quick review on direct object pronouns. And now let's see what the indirect object pronouns are. So the indirect object, we're going to try to find it in a sentence. And this one receives the indirect action of the verb. The direct receives the direct action. The indirect receives the indirect action. What is that? What is this? So let's see. Let's see. It's going to answer the questions to whom or for whom, a quién or para quién. So when you have a people or a one person that is doing an action, cocinan, ellos, Luis y Sara, cocinan, what are they cooking? Whatever they're cooking is going to be the direct object, direct, tacos. And then for whom or to whom are they doing this? They're doing this, they're cooking tacos for Christina. Okay, perfect. So what are they cooking? Direct object, that's the direct object. Okay, but now for whom are they cooking these tacos? For Christina, a Cristina, objeto indirecto. This is how you're going to find the indirect object. The indirect object is going to be a person or more than one person, and you're going to see that right there, there's going to be before the indirect object, and it's going to be a little trick for you to find it. Esteban compra comida para su familia. You can have an a or you can have para. For his family. He buys food, direct. For his family will be the indirect object on the weekends. Objeto directo, objeto indirecto. Muy bien. So let's try the first thing that you need to do, because we're going to have direct object, indirect object pronoun, all these pronouns, all these things. Try to identify everything. Sujeto, what is the subject? María. Verbo, manda. And then she sends, what is she sending? A letter, direct object. Now we need to identify the indirect object. She sends a letter to Juan. This is the indirect object. We're not going to replace them yet, okay? We're not going to be replacing the indirect yet. Let's do some examples. I read a book. Yo leo un libro a mis hijos. A mis hijos, indirect. You're reading, what are you reading? This, direct. For whom? To whom? A mis hijos. My kids. La profesora da es el verbo. La nota del examen, the direct object can be long, can be longer than just one word. And a los estudiantes. She's giving the grade, the exam grade, to the students. A los estudiantes. Servimos la cena, we serve the dinner. A los invitados, to the guests. La Instagrammer, Instagrammer recommends the movie to whom? You can guess this. To the followers, to her followers, a sus seguidores. That's how you say followers. You don't need to know that word. And then mi madre regala un coche a mi hermano. My mom, regalar is to buy as a gift or to gift something to someone. Un coche, that's the direct, to my brother, a mi hermano, indirecto. We're finding the indirect object, okay? Vosotros compráis un regalo muy caro a Sandra, or para Sandra. A or para. Okay, so then if we just have to replace the indirect object, these are going to be the new pronouns that we're going to be using now. So you'll see more examples in a second, but these are the pronouns, the indirect object pronouns, very similar to the direct ones. Me, te, le, nos, os, les. Okay. So when you're saying someone is doing something for me or to me, me. Someone is doing whatever to you, for you. I'm buying flowers to you, te. Someone is buying whatever for him, for her, for you, the usted form. If you want to use a little bit more formal, for you will be le. Then for us, or to us, nos, for you guys, the one that they use, or we use in Spain, os, and les, for them, or for you guys. I do something, yo compro, I buy what? Yo compro un libro, a mí, a ti, a ella. We're going to be replacing those for these pronouns. We're going to be using them in a second. Let's see. So where do we place these pronouns? Before we see a few more examples, let's see. Sara cocina tacos. She cooks tacos for me, para mí. Now we're going to replace the indirect object. This is the indirect object, remember? And we're going to place the pronoun, which is going to be me. Para mí will be me in front of the verb. Remember that this is very similar to direct object pronouns? Yeah, almost same thing. Perfecto. El pronombre de objeto indirecto, this is el pronombre de objeto indirecto, va enfrente del verbo, in front of the verb, enfrente del verbo, Ok, ejemplos, yo cocino el espagueti o los espagueti para ti. Okay, I cook this, I do this, direct object to you or for you. This is the indirect. How do we replace it? If it's for you, it's going to be te. So we're going to put it right in front of the verb. Yo te cocino, o cocino el espagueti, los espagueti. Nosotros damos el regalo a mis amigos. We give a gift to my friends. Okay, nosotros les. If it's a mis amigos, if it's plural, mis amigos, it's always going to be this. a mis amigos, a los estudiantes, even if you have two people, María y Juan, two people, les. It's like they. It will be replaced with them. We give the gift to them. We give them whatever, the thing. The thing, it's always the direct object. We're not replacing this yet, okay? Okay, so only the indirect object. And remember, yeah, this is very important. Sujeto y verbo siempre concuerdan. That means subject, the person who's doing the action, and the verb, damos, always agree. Nosotros damos, nosotros damos. Nothing happens with those. Okay, we're just replacing this and putting the pronoun in the middle. Sometimes the subject can be actually omitted, so this can be gone. And you can say, les damos el regalo, or damos el regalo a mis amigos. Les damos el regalo. This can be actually gone. But it will be omitted, but it's there. So, nosotros damos. Always in all those sentences, you will see that the subject and the verb agree. Tú dices las buenas noticias a nosotros. Tú nos dices las buenas noticias. If it's a nosotros, it will be replaced by nos. Ella muestra las fotos a vosotros. If it's vosotros, remember that it's always on this area there. Ella os muestra las fotos. Yo recomiendo el restaurante a la profesora. If it's one person, that is not a mí, which it will be me, or a ti, which it will be te. If it's a person, a la profesora, a mi madre, a María, a Juan, al profesor, one person, whoever it is going to be le, replaced by le. Yo le recomiendo el restaurante. But wait. Oh, wait a second. What if we have two verbs? I already kind of said it, but Sara va a cocinar when you have two verbs. La carne para nosotros. She's going to cook. Let's take this off. It's fine. Sara is going to cook. What is she going to cook? What is the direct object? The meat. She's going to cook the meat. Okay. For whom? To whom? For us, para nosotros. Okay, we know now all the different parts. Subject, verbs. Now we have two verbs. Meat and, direct object, which is the meat, and indirect. Now we can replace this and put the pronoun either before the first verb or attached to the infinitive, attached to the second verb, cocinar. Cocinarnos. Sara va a cocinarnos la carne. Now, if you have an ing verb, estoy preparando, estoy hablando, estamos estudiando, viviendo, ando or iendo, estoy preparando, you would, let's see what happens. You would do the same thing. You're gonna either put it before the first verb, that I am preparing tea for my friends. My friends is what you're going to be replacing, the indirect object. You can put it, before the verb or attach to the ing, to the ando, right there. Estoy preparándoles té. It has an accent mark. When you put a pronoun right there, you're going to put an accent mark on the second to the last syllable. Preparándoles. Okay, and one more thing. What happened? Most of the previous slides were wrong? What? What? Why? Oh no. Let's see. So what happened? First easy and then a little bit more difficult. Why were they wrong? They were not really, really wrong, but let's see. What happened? Every time that you have an indirect object, okay, remember this, when you have an indirect object in a sentence, you need the pronoun in the original sentence. What does this mean? What is this? Again, that cat scared. What does that mean? Let's see. So let's go back to this. Sara, she cooks tacos for me. Sara me cocina tacos. This is something that you can do, but look at this original sentence. Sara cocina tacos para mí. Usually, if you have this in the sentence, you have to put the pronoun in the sentence. The actual sentence, a correct sentence, will be Sara me cocina tacos para mí. If you have an indirect object, this needs to be here. This is not necessary. This is perfect. Sara me cocina tacos. But if you're implying or there is an indirect object in the sentence, put the pronoun right there. Okay? So the sentence, the sentence, yo cocino el espagueti para ti. If we have an indirect object there, it will need to have that te already there. So this sentence will be yo te cocino el espagueti para ti. Or yo te cocino el espagueti. This is not necessary. But if you have it there, if it exists, it needs the te. There's an object, an indirect object, put the te right there. Objeto indirecto, the less should be already there in the original sentence. Okay? In the same way, there are some verbs that require a direct object. There are some other verbs that usually require an indirect object. So some verbs, they're more likely for you to use a direct and an indirect object. You're going to see the indirect object there several times because you're giving the verb to give. You can give something, but most of the time you can say probably I give something to someone. So you're going to see a direct object and an indirect object right after. Okay? That happens with some of these verbs too. When you're saying something, you could say something, but sometimes you're saying something to someone, or you're telling something to someone, contar, or pedir, you're asking for something to someone, or asking someone something. The thing is, you're gonna have the something is the direct object, the to someone is gonna be the indirect. You could send, mandar something to someone. You can show, mostrar something to someone. So you're going to have the direct and indirect. You can serve food to whatever, to whoever. The whoever, the to someone, is the indirect object. Okay, but these are very common verbs that you can use with indirect objects. And then you have just an activity. You have the PowerPoint in your Blackboard, in your course. And just for you to do this, try identify all of these direct object. He's explaining the homework to someone. Well, he writes a letter to her mom. Would just do that. Take your time, do that, and try to just replace the indirect. Forget about the direct, don't replace it right now, we'll do that later. So just the indirect. Juan le explica, why is that le? Because the indirect object is a Pedro, and when you say le, remember that the indirect object pronouns are me, te, le, nos, os, les. Okay, so just replace those. And I believe that's it. Yes. So that will be it. Let me know if you have any questions. And that's all for this video. Adios. Ciao.